for the Wood Brothers Racing. Ryan, while this is your first start in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series here at Martinsville Speedway, the Wood Brothers have a very rich history at this track. Talk about the anticipation you have, but also, Glenn and the rest of the team in being back here at this track for the first time since 2011.
Yeah, well, good morning, everybody. But it's nice to be back in Martinsville with the Wood Brothers team. It's neat to be back at pretty much their home track. Stewart's only 20 miles away from here, not even. So it's cool to be back here and with those guys and kind of have everybody out and see everything. I think Glenn's going to be able to make it on Sunday, which is going to be really nice to get him to another race. So hopefully that'll go well for him. But I remember growing up watching my dad race here, and I grew up 45 minutes in High Point, North Carolina, 45 minutes away from here, and I would come to this race every year and watch my dad and watch the trucks, and I just thought it was such a cool place and just really neat to be able to run a Cup car, let alone the 21 car over here. So that just kind of adds to the special factor. But nice to be back and cool to be making my first Cup start here, and hopefully we get on the track a little bit today and I can practice a little bit.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. Please raise your hand if you have a question, and we'll start up front here on the left.
All that being said, do you feel any pressure with the Wood Brothers being here at their home track the first time they've been back in a few years?
No, not really. It's really just going to be a lot of fun, to be honest with you, to have them come back here. And I honestly get that question every single weekend, if there's pressure with Wood Brothers going back to this track that they haven't been to in a while. And it's really kind of the same every week. It's just been a lot of fun to drive for them and be here every week and work with everybody on this race team, whether they're new or veterans of the Wood Brothers team. So it's just cool to be at the track and be around everybody. So there's definitely no pressure. We're just out here trying to relax and have fun, and it's just a kind of a bonus that we're here in their home state and their home track where we're gonna have a lot of fans. Actually, we're gonna have we got a little open house at their museum tonight in Stewart, which will be really cool. The last time they did that, I think they got about 5,000 people that came out. So I'm excited to meet everybody and have everyone come out and sign some autographs. It's going to be fun. So.
Additional questions? We'll go to Kenny Bruce.
Kenny Bruce, NASCAR.com. Have you ever had 5,000 people come out to see you before?
They aren't coming out to see me. That's for damn sure. They're not coming out to see me. They're going to come out and see the Wood Brothers, and I just get to be there and shake their hand. So no, they're the main stars up here in Virginia. They're rock stars up here. So it's cool to just be a part of it, and going to be a part of it tonight to kind of share some stories with some old fans of theirs, and they're actually going to have all four of the original Wood Brothers out, which is really, really neat to get all four of them together. And then, of course, Eddie and Len will be there too. But it's going to be cool. It's going to be a lot of fun. But they're definitely there to see them. Maybe there's if there's 5,000, there might be 7 there to see me, and most of the other ones there to see those guys. So, yeah. So.
All right, we'll go over here.
Ryan, Andrew Dowd, Fox Sports. 2 top 10s, good starts to the season for you. When you set goals at the beginning of the year, where do those 2 top 10 finishes start for you rank as far as what your expectations were heading into this season?
I set a goal at the beginning of the year to run all the laps, and that hasn't come true. So that goal is kind of out the window. But it's good to have a couple top 10s and have some strong runs. Obviously there's some races you wish you could take back, like Atlanta and Fontana a couple weeks ago. We blew a tire, but that's just problems you have to minimize, and it stinks that you have 2 of them early off in the year, but you try to learn from them as much as you can and try to grow from them and have those not happen again. And we'll do our best to try to make that happen. But it's nice to know that we have fast race cars. We've had fairly good cars every single weekend, and we're just getting better every single weekend. And as we work together as this team, kind of bonds, and this is a fairly new team. We brought on a handful of new guys in the beginning of the season. We kept most of the Wood Brothers personnel that has been there for a long time, but we brought in some new people and just to help out, with the full-time gig, because it's a lot more work, and they're just kind of getting acclimated to each other. They do a great job working together already, but I think just the more and more they work together, I think the stronger that relationship's going to be, and I think it'll go a lot smoother from there on out. But it's been a good start to the year so far, really.
Additional questions for Ryan? We'll come to the middle.
Charles Rourke, News. We cover Martinsville. What's special about the town of Martinsville to you?
The town?
The town and the track. And
Well, I'm staying at the Dutch Inn, which is nice. It's a good scenic culture. It's cool, but it's nice to. It's it's a neat small town. It almost reminds me of Stewart. If I go up to Stewart a little bit, and just a small town. It's almost like where I grew up. High Point's fairly small. It's a little bit bigger than this, but kind of a furniture city. But I like it. It's cool to kind of drive through Martinsville town, I guess, from where I'm staying to the racetrack. So it's nice to kind of see the culture over there and just it almost reminds me just old school short track town where I grew up racing with. I've been to 100 of these small towns of in the middle of nowhere, and it's just cool to see the passion they have for racing. I don't think you pass a house around here without a racing flag up it or posted on the door or hanging off the mantle. So it's just cool to be here.
All right, we'll go to Chris Knight and then all the way in the back.
Chris Knight, CatchFans.com. Ryan, you guys really have done a good job on Twitter interacting with fans, especially with Darrell Wallace Jr. What has it meant to you to have such an impact on NASCAR Nation as you're growing your career and establishing that fan base?
I like it. The fans are what makes this sport possible, and the most that we can do is to try to interact with them as much as possible. And that's how we influence them to become fans and influence the already fans of the sport to tell their friends who aren't fans to watch it. And that's all we can do. And NASCAR has done a great job with implementing drivers into interacting with fans and doing neat things to kind of give fans an inside look of what we do, or just kind of a funny outlook on personal drivers. So it's just neat what they're doing, and it's been fun to interact with fans. It's awesome to hear their stories and where they come from, and I like talking to fans. So I wish I could talk to more fans. I wish we had more time in the day to talk to fans, but it's neat. I like it, and they make the sport possible, like I said. So the more that they enjoy it, and the more impact that we can have on them is just good for the sport.
All right, we'll go to the back, and then we'll come back up front.
Zach Catanzarelli, front stretch. Are the Wood Brothers, real storytellers to you? Did they ever tell you like really old stories of back in the day about tracks like Martinsville and stuff like that?
All the time, man. If you've never talked to the Wood Brothers, that's what they are. They're storytellers, and that's awesome. I love old racing stories and knowing the history of our sport. Growing up around it, I like to learn as much as I can about it. And Leonard told me a really neat story this week at the shop, actually. He's probably one of him and Glenn are the biggest storytellers for sure, and they have the really, really cool ones. Leonard, he didn't drive too much, and he said he tested a car out here one time, and he was messing with intakes and like airflow and air boxes and stuff, and he'd run a hose down it and ran the hose back to his mouth, and he'd blow in the intake to see if it made more power, or he'd suck air out of it to see if it made more power, and he said neither of them worked, so he just kind of did away with that whole project. But it's just really cool that's what they did back then. It's awesome to hear that story. I was fascinated by it, and it just kind of shows you what kind of the brain he is, if he would even think of something like that, and then let alone be doing that and driving. It's really cool. So they're definitely storytellers, and that's one of the neatest things about them, I think.
All right, we've got one more question in the back, and then we'll come back up front.
Tucker White, SpeedwayMedia.com. Now, Ryan, your buddy Bubba Wallace was in Knoxville last week practicing with the Bubba Wallace. Yeah, no one does. Anyway, he was in Knoxville last week practicing with the Vols, and afterwards he said that you'd probably be the first person to critique his performance. So, have you gotten around to critiquing his performance with the team?
Well, the first thing he made a mistake on was being a fan of the Vols. I don't even know.
I think it's that.
Did you take advantage of that? Sorry, I'm a Buckeye fan, but I haven't critiqued him yet. I saw a video of him completely miss a pass. I don't think he got a hand on the ball.
He didn't.
It went right through his hands. So that was funny, how terrible of an athlete he is. But but he's a pretty good athlete. But that's cool, man. I saw him do that, and I'm like, man, I'd like to go do that with Ohio State or something. So maybe that'll kind of sway me to go do it. But I haven't critiqued him yet. No, I haven't given him too hard of a time for it.
All right, we'll come up here to the left.
Zach Glover, WDBJ7. Can you take anything away from the few truck races that you've done here, and how important will it be to get the practice in a Cup car?
I think you can take some things away. You know, those truck races are only half the distance. You know, it's a Cup race, and that's a long way to go another full race, really. But there are things you can take away. You know, you're always wanting to conserve brakes here. That's one of the biggest things, and rear tires, I think, are some of the most important things. That's something I struggled with in the truck, of being too aggressive and burning my rear tires off, and that's something I've tried to prepare as much as I can for. You know, it just gets worse in the Cup car as you up horsepower. So that's something I've been talking a lot to my dad about, and watching a lot of videos and trying to do the best that I can to try to make sure that doesn't happen. So, you know, today we'll be in qualifying trim all day, so it doesn't really apply. You know, you drive the car or a truck really a whole lot different. It's a whole different driving style from qualifying to the race here. So tomorrow I'll get a better read of what to do and mess around with that stuff. But there are a lot of things you can really take away. Even though they're completely different vehicles, there's a lot of things you can take away here.
All right, we'll go to the right and then finish up with Lee.
Barry Richmond, Piedmont Broadcasting Corporation. Ryan, with the transition that the team has made going from a part-time schedule to full-time, and I think you touched on it with the hiring of more people. What's been the biggest challenge, or maybe any unforeseen, in successfully making this transition to the full schedule for 2016?
Well, it's a big change, you know, from just getting more cars to more parts and pieces. You need more people to make it possible. The travel schedule is a lot higher, so it's a big jump. You know, not only for me, but for the whole team and organization. And the Penske group has been very, very helpful when it comes to that and helping us out, you know, whether it's with personnel or helping us out with cars and everything like that. So they've done an amazing job of doing their part. And, you know, that means a lot for the Wood Brothers and everybody like that. So that they've really honestly made it possible for us to do this. And it's just, you know, it puts a lot more work on everybody that has been around it and have done part schedules for the past handful of years. But it's nice to be at the racetrack, and I know they like it. You know, even if they've been only at half the races, you know, the people who have been at the Wood Brothers for a long time, you know, they only ran half a season for some years, and even they like being at, you know, the racetrack even more. They want to be at the racetrack. They're racers, and that's what they want to do. So it has there's a lot more work, but I think they like it, and it's been going really good. So.
All right, final question from Lee Spencer.
Lee Spencer, motorsport.com. Just wondering, Logano's won the last two polls here. Have you spoke to him at all about what you may need to do today if we do get qualifying in?
I haven't. I haven't talked to him about qualifying or anything like that. You know, I've really talked a lot to my dad about. Honestly, I've talked to my dad more about this place than any other racetrack, just because I feel like I've struggled here the most in my career. But I haven't talked to Joey at all. I know he's been really fast here the past few races, and he'll definitely have something to offer. So I'll probably have to track him down after this practice and before qualifying. And you know, we're spoiled now. We have data and everything like that, and we can sit down and compare data and kind of see if he's doing anything different, and him and I can maybe figure it out if he's willing to help, which he usually is, which is great. So I'll have to track him down for sure.
All right, thanks for joining us, Ryan, and good luck this weekend.